Hello and welcome to the Intentional Brief, your weekly video update on the one big thing in cybersecurity news for middle market companies, their investors, and executive teams. I'm your host, Shay Colson, managing partner at Intentional Cybersecurity, and you can find us online at intentionalcyber.com. Today is Monday, May 5th, 2025, and I'm not going to talk about the Signal knockoff application that U.S. government officials have been spotted using in the wild, or the hard-coded keys in that source code that allowed those messages to be exposed, but you should still definitely read an article or two about that. What we are going to talk about today is the cluster of attacks befalling UK retailers, because it should serve as a cautionary tale for all of us so that we don't have to learn these same lessons the hard way. Starting with an attack 2 weeks ago on UK retailer Marks & Spencer, a new group calling themselves Dragon Force has now claimed credit for a rash of attacks on both Marks & Spencer, as well as storied retailer Harrods and Coop, all based in the UK. The latter of whom, Coop, is looking at an exposure of more than 20 million customer records. Sentinel-1 has a good write-up on the group, which I have linked to down below, noting their pivot initially in August of 2023 from a hacktivist approach, now serving as just straight-up extortion, with a preference for phishing as an initial access technique, and then using either known vulnerabilities or exposed credentials to launch their attacks. Security researcher Kevin Beaumont, also based in the UK, has a great write-up on the happenings at Marks & Spencer, which follows on some reporting indicating that while they escalated the issue internally very quickly, including to the CEO at midnight and then meeting every 3 hours throughout the night, they also had no plan for a ransomware attack, and initial reports have now been verified claiming that staff are using WhatsApp to communicate as corporate comms channels are down and are literally sleeping on the floor of the office as they struggle to regain control. And the scope and scale of these attacks has prompted a blog post with warnings from the UK's National Cybersecurity Centre, or NCSC, authored by both the NCSC's National Resilience Director, Jonathan Ellison, and their CTO, Ollie Whitehouse. And as usual, their advice is sound and worth sharing, imploring retailers to ensure MFA is turned on everywhere, enhance their monitoring, particularly around account misuse, including risky logins for Entra ID, noting especially those where the detection type is Microsoft Entra Threat Intelligence, something maybe we can put into play in our own systems, to pay specific attention to domain admin, enterprise admin, and cloud admin accounts, including reviewing help desk password reset procedures, including how the help desk authenticates staff member credentials before resetting, especially escalated, elevated, or admin accounts. Ensuring that security operations centers can identify logins from atypical sources, including VPN services running from residential IP ranges, potential indicator there of malicious or anomalous activity, and ensuring that you have the ability on the Security Operations Center to consume these TTPs, techniques, tactics, and procedures sourced from threat intelligence because of this clustered nature of the attack. So again, doing this work up front, rolling out these controls, having a plan that is defined, that is written, having response playbooks with validated backups that you test regularly, including the plan and the backup, are critical, and they're not glamorous, but this is work that you will be glad that you did should you find yourself in the position of these retailers, because otherwise you're going to be literally sleeping on the floor of the office as you battle for control. I think the other thing too is additionally these clustered attacks are indicative of something that we're going to see more and more of as threat actors seek to maximize their monetization opportunities. Their thinking being that if an initial victim shares TTPs, others can then prepare a stronger defense. And that is true when we should share these TTPs, right? Techniques, tactics, and procedures. But it also means that threat actors are going to focus now on velocity and adjacencies. And this set of retail attacks is only going to become more common in the sense of multiple groups in the same industry, likely using the same playbook. Maybe there's a shared vendor or some other shared vulnerability. That is going to be how attackers, I think, are going to concentrate their efforts moving forward. So we not only have to step up our game, but also have to move a little bit more quickly with our friends in the space that we are in. From a fundraising perspective, a decent week with nearly $13 billion in newly committed capital, led by Apollo, who raised $5.4 billion for their first PE secondaries fund, a theme that we are continuing to see more and more of here in 2025. No major Financial Times or Wall Street Journal headlines to speak of this week, which is just as well, frankly, since there are plenty of other market dynamics to be monitoring. And a reminder that you can find links to the articles that we covered in the comment section below. You can find back issues and written transcripts of these videos at intentionalcyber.com, and we will see you next week for another edition of the Intentional Brief.